I hope everyone is safe, sound, and busy with the festivities, busy with the preparations, and busy with kids having some good time at home, right? Yes. So, as you all know, that all these days during this pandemic, which we are calling epidemic, we have been doing lot many things at home. And what these things include the best things for our kids. These things include the new ideas we have implemented, whether we have started cooking, whether we have started doing anything with the kids, and plenty of new experiments we have decided to do. So a mom, when decides to do something, knows how to start and where to start. Today we have one of our guests with us. She is the founder of parentcircle.com, and today we are having her with some important topics and a discussion which is going to benefit each one of you. Now the discussion around this involves only kids, because that's the one thing we want to know, that how to engage our kids. That's an important thing. We look for the ideas, the experiments. And when I got to know that Parent Circle has got this new magazine in hand, and this is brilliantly made magazine, and how Nalina started working on it, how she founded Parent Circle, and to how many parents she has actually reached. This is really commendable. She comes from a family where she has 2 kids and they are doing fabulous outside. She actually spent about 20 years outside, and when she shifted, moved back to India, she felt that there is some gap which needs to be filled with some new things for the parents and the kids, the bonding, and that's how the Parent Circle was founded. And now let's talk about the magazine for which she is working. So I'll just have Nalina with us, and let's hear from her how she has been doing fabulous in this life, where she is continuously making an effort to bring change in mom's life. Because you can shoot your queries about the home learning, about the activity books, and about the magazine Parent Circle has made. So yes, we'll be finding the answers from Nalina herself, and super glad that Nalina is here with us with the team. I'm very sure that with the team, we will be finding all the answers once the live is over as well. I'm just trying to add her, and here the journey, here the the benefits, the obstacles, the struggles, everything. Because eventually, a mom, when decides to do something, she works at her best. So yes, let's listen out how these activity books, how the magazines are working fabulous, how everything works in favor when a mom starts a venture. When she had a little experience of a startup, she comes from an engineering background, and eventually she land up launching a website named Parent Circle. So hi, I have just tried adding her, but there was no response. Hi Jyoti, yes, I am trying to add her. I'm not sure why she couldn't pick the call. I've just sent her the invitation again. You just said no,
Okay,
no
so
problem.
we'll try.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, good to.
Anyway, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this program and to show. And I look forward to talking with all your parents. And I apologize for the initial setup issues, but now we are. Yeah. So yes, Shalu, please go ahead.
Okay, so I was telling my community about your journey, and how you
Okay.
founded Parent Circle, then you shifted back to India, and the obstacles you actually found. How
Yeah.
you sorted out, and how you felt that Parent Circle is one thing you need to do, and then this magazine we will talk about.
Yeah, I was lived in the U.S. for a long time, right? And my children were born in the U.S. And when my son was around 14, my daughter was around 10, I came back to India. That was over 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. I moved back to India. And, so when I came back, I really felt the need to reach out and start connecting, because I felt as a parent, my journey at every step, you're learning something new. There's so many issues, so many things that crop up, and you want to learn from each other. You want to learn from the latest research that's going on in parenting to help you learn and grow as a parent, right? Parent, but just support each other and learn from each other. So that being, my driving goal, I started Parent Circle in India. I started it as a magazine, with first. And then about 3 years later, we added a Tamil version called Chelame. And more recently, over the last 4, 5 years, we also have an online portal where we continue to share some good information on parenting. And we welcome parents to come and talk and chat and share their views. And we work with many experts. We do many online classes and courses. So that's been the journey of Parent Circle. And more recently, we thought it was important to also reach out to parents to help them create a wonderful learning environment at home. How can, especially at the younger age group, how can you help parents create this wonderful learning environment at home? So, and that's how we launched the Little Learners at Home book series, right? So coming back to, as a parent, my what has my learning been, right, as a parent? It's been like, my children are now all grown up, they're in their 20s, right? But it's a wonderful, amazing journey being a mother. At the same time, yes, there are a lot of challenges. And a lot of times I wish I knew then, when my children were growing up, what I know now. These last 10 years of research and learning about parenting, and how the latest neuroscience and the latest research on how parents can engage with their children beautifully. That learning has helped me grow as a parent, even to my adult children today. And I wish a lot of this I knew when my children were young. And I know there are a lot of young mothers out there today, and my one thing to them is, enjoy this moment with your children. We get so caught up with, what does my child be in the future? What, I want him to join this, be the greatest engineer or the greatest, doctor, or we all have ambitions for our children, or the greatest sportsman, whatever, right? And we begin to focus on their future. And a lot of times we miss just enjoying them in the present. So, when my own thing too, when I look back, I too went through that phase, right, of being very wanting the best for my children, wanting them to expose them to whatever there was out there I could expose them to. But when I look back, I feel like the stress of having to do it sometimes takes away from the joy of parenting your child and being with your child, right? I one, you know, think I keep telling parents of young kids, you know what? Just enjoy the moment. They're so beautiful. There's so much, the innovative ideas, the creative ideas. Yes, there are challenges. They don't always do what you want them to do, but they are so wonderful. And why not we take that moment to really enjoy them and connect with them, right? So I think, in short, that's been my parenting journey. And also to remember that none of us are perfect as parents, right? And no parent is, and no child are the same, right? As a parent, I have two children, two very different children. What worked with one child did not work with another child, so you need to adjust, right? So it's basically uh, understanding the fundamental psychology of your child, understanding your child, their personality, what motivates them, what triggers them, and adjusting your parenting to it so that with them easily, and engage with them and motivate them, right? So that is what really parenting is about: being able to show up for your children, be present for your children, understand their thoughts, their emotions. Why is it they're getting upset over something, you know? And if you understand that, then you're so much better off trying to really, help them deal with that situation, right? um, think about it. I know, for example, my daughter, when she was young, always liked to know beforehand what was going to happen. And for any reason, I forgot to tell her that, this is what's going to happen. Even if I was just going to the grocery store to pick up something, or, but first I promised her, you know what, I'm going to take you to your friend's house. And then on the way, I stopped at a grocery store, right? She would be very upset because I didn't let her know before, and there would be a tantrum in the grocery store, right? So, but but then knowing her personality, if I took the time to, explain to her, see, this is what you can. We're going to stop at the grocery store before we go drop you off at your friend's place. Then avoid such a conflict situation at the time. So a lot of time it's just being there for your child, being present, and trying to understand who they are, and trying to connect with them in ways that they will cooperate with us, right? So that is the basis of what we as parents can do. So,
Very small
and
thing. You said very in a simple way, but I really agree what you're saying, because we are going to face this very soon. I have a toddler, but yes,
okay.
we are going to face. We are going to face it soon. We are going to face it.
Yeah, it's definitely, there are definitely challenges, but we can, it's we enjoy them. That's kind of important. And so, given that, and more recently, Shalu, what we realized based on research, this 3 to 5 year, below 5, I should say, the brain is developing so much, right? It's changing and growing so much during this age, right? So, how can we support our child's learning? I know today's program is about how do we, engage our children, 3 to 5 year olds. So, if I come to that, right? So first thing to keep in mind is there's so much they're able to absorb. Their brains are like a sponge, just the ability to absorb whatever comes their way, right? So given that, how can we at home create an enriching learning environment for the child? What can we do to set up a wonderful an environment where we create opportunities for the child to learn, right? Our goal is to trigger their curiosity, to help them experiment, right? And so they enjoy the learning process, right? So that is what we think is important at that age. And research also shows that yes, preschools have their place where children go and they meet other children, so there's social learning happening, and they're also learning from each other, right? So a lot of that is definitely happening in preschool. So there's great, tremendous value in preschools. But at the same time, what research shows is that when parents provide an environment for the child to learn at home, the parental support is so critical to their future academic success, more than learning your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s in a preschool, right? It is that additional support and care that you as a parent can provide for a young child that really, helps them to future academic success, right? So, so we have kept all this in mind when we design. Are you hearing a lot of noise in the background? Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm hearing that noise, but it's fine. You're audible.
I'm audible. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Okay. So yeah. So basically, like I said, right? So how do you so coming back to what is parenting all about, right? Again, that is one thing we are never taught in life. We are taught to be teacher, we are taught to be an engineer, we are taught to even be a janitor. How do you even clean bathrooms, right? We even train for that. But the one thing that we never train for is being a parent. We're just supposed to observe and learn and figure it out, right? But when you really delve into it, there's so much that that so many years of experience and years of research gives us a basis for how we can motivate our children better and how we can encourage them better and support them better. There are many techniques to be able to be, that we can use in our parenting. So so it's important for us as parents to continuously learn and grow and absorb those positive techniques. And as a parent, our main goal is one, it's really not about trying to, I wouldn't say we want to control our children and make them do that what we want. Would you regard that as a good parenting, or would you want your child to be self motivated, within themselves, that they want to behave well, they want to you know um, uh, that they learn how to manage a situation, a fight with a friend on their own, right? How do we equip them with the tools so that they can manage themselves, their emotions, and also their own? How do you encourage them to explore? How do you explain learn? How do you encourage them to experiment? There's so much that that we as a parent can help our child. Instead of telling them what to do, how about helping them, guiding them, and setting up a safe space where they can figure out and learn on their own, right? So much learning happens. So, so this is what we want. We would hope that want to support parents in building an environment, a safe environment at home, where children are encouraged and motivated to be curious and learn. So that is the idea behind, the series of books that we have come up with. It's called the Little Learners at Home series,
Yeah.
right? And that's the idea behind those books that we have come up with. And the it serves more as a guide for parents on how to help their children at home learn at home through everyday things. We're not saying you have to buy this or buy that, right? So how is it that you can help your child learn at home? And when we say learn, we realize at that age children learn best through play, right? It's not about sitting in one place and writing, or they have to sit and concentrate. As they move around, as they play, they learn so much, right? So and so, how do you incorporate that into your everyday activities at home? Let me give you a simple example, right? You're just going for a walk in the park, right? And there's so much opportunity to help your child learn in the park. You can stop by, and it's the questions that you ask your child that get them thinking. Why do you think the leaf is green? Why do you think the flower is yellow? This flower is yellow, that flower is purple. Do you notice which flowers are the bees going to? Why do you think they prefer the yellow flower to the purple flower, right? These kind of questions really get your child thinking. It's not necessary that they know the answers, right?
Right.
But you get them really thinking. And if you and so that is one way, right? And how do you help them? Math in the garden. Can you count all the blue flowers in the garden? Can you count all the purple garden? Can you count all the red flowers in the garden? Are there more red flowers than blue flowers? Are there more red flowers than yellow flowers? Right. So you're bringing in math and estimation, right, in your garden walk itself. How many birds have you found flying? Can we find five birds that are around here? So you're bringing in that. And then the curiosity element, you can even bring in science. You pick up soil from your garden, right? and different types of soil. Bring it back home in little containers. Which soil absorbs water more than the other? So which one do you think the plants would like, right? So these kind of questions and the conversations that you have with your child build lots of vocabulary, right? Gets you to understand your child and their thinking process better. And through those conversations, you can even bring out, emotional issues. How do you feel when you see this flower? What do you think? Or if they find a dead insect in the garden, oh, see the dead insect? How do you feel about it? What do you think happened to that dead insect? So there's social emotional learning as well happening, through these conversations. So there's so much that you can explore with your child thinking. Right? So keeping this thought process in mind is how we launch the Little Learners at Home series. So what we do is we pick a theme. It's like a weekly theme we pick. And just like I explained, the garden, and around the theme, we how 7 areas of learning you can explore with your child. Language and literature, right? Number sense, which is math, and science, right? Movement and coordination, which is moving around. Then art, around that theme, right? And what is the other? So we have social emotional learning, me and my world, number sense, art and creative expression, language and literature. We have health and safety. So coordination. So we have like 7 areas of learning we explore through every.
Do you have that book with you? If you can share the list of it, the community members.
Show that. Pull out one book to show, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, when I say that, for example, I'm just going to pick out, you can see a whole bunch of books that we have here. And I'm just holding my phone since I shifted places. Can you see?
Yes, we can see. Yeah.
That this is Me, Myself, and My I, which is the first month of 4 books put together, which is about, helping the child understand, exploring who they are, right? And also understanding their bodies, learning about their bodies. Then they're also talking about, what I can do now. How was, so they did I do as a baby? What did I do as a baby? What did I like as a baby? But what am I doing now? How, and so through that they explore how I'm continuously learning and growing and changing, and that builds confidence in your child, right? It's okay that, if you like something today, you may like something tomorrow, and that's perfectly okay, right? So we let them explore a lot about themselves in this particular module, right? Then then we have the second set which focuses on my family, right? It's a set of 4 books, right? One is celebrations. Then we have my festivals, right? Then we talk about. Sorry, I had it all organized and now it shifted places. Um,
It's going perfectly fine. So do not worry for that.
Yeah, and then the next thing is about health and nutrition, where we talk about fruits and my kitchen, and we explore health and hygiene and vegetables. So if you take, for example, the kitchen theme that we talked about, right? There's so much things when you're busy in the kitchen, right? You're so busy, you want your child to interrupt you and think, come on, don't bother me. But can you just give your child a safe space to sit in the kitchen and do so many things with you, right? Could be you're rolling out rotis. You can give your child a little bit of the dough, right? The roti dough, and give some shape cutters or something along those lines, and give them a rolling pin, and you'll be done this with my own children, how much they love doing that, rolling out their own rotis, making their own rotis, right? So there they're learning about shapes in the kitchen, right? And or you can give them a bowl of different types of dals all mixed up in a bowl, and allow them to keep sorting, and that'll keep them busy for quite a while, right? Sorting the different types of dals or lentils that you have in a bowl. So while you're things that you can do to keep your child busy, right? And there's of course so much of science in the kitchen. What happens to a potato if I put it in salt water versus regular water? What happens if I leave an apple outside that's cut, right? See how it changes. So there's so much science in the kitchen. I mean, it's not that you expect them to learn to know the names of the concepts or anything, but then they observe, and that triggers a curiosity in them, and that's what a scientific mind is all about, right? Being curious and exploring and experimenting, and trial and error, observing. So all these are scientific thinking. So all that, there's so much you can actually do in the kitchen. So this is what we pick a theme, and around the theme we are guiding. It's more like a guide for parents. These books that they can engage with their children through so many things at home, and through that process of engagement, prepare them for help them learn a lot, and prepare them for learning in their future academics also. One thing to keep in mind is, today we don't know what 20 years from now careers or jobs will be open, right? We don't really know. We know how much, in the last 10 years, how things have changed for us. So can you imagine 20 years from now? So we need to prepare learners for life, give them the ability to learn, to unlearn, relearn, right, and think. So how do we prepare them? Through giving them creative activities, thinking activities, encouraging their curiosity, encouraging them, allowing them to explore. So that's the idea behind the books that we have come up with as a guide for parents, which will help them at least set the basis to encourage their child to learn and grow. So we give a lot of parenting tips, how the conversations that you can have after every activity with your child. Right? So during that process, you're also strengthening your bond and your connection with your child. Right? Even 15 minutes a day doing one activity. Imagine that focus, attention you're giving to your child, listening to what he has to say, engaging with them, having fun together. It really strengthens that parent-child bond, these simple activities that you do with your child. Right? So that's what I'd like to share. So how important it is to first of all build a strong connection with your child, taking the time to spend even 15 minutes a day uninterrupted by gadgets or anything else, doing some and how can you help your child learn at home, right? So these are some of the thoughts I'd like to share with parents today.
Ma'am, like I know parent circle, I guess, since past 2 years, definitely not connected too much, but I have been a visitor of your website and looking at the things you have been doing, parenting tips, and lot many good things already do on parent circle. Really appreciate that. And the Little Learners book, I took a glimpse of it, and trust, the content looks really amazing. Not the one you showed, I actually saw it on the website. The parenting tip, what you do on the website as well as in the book, the content, it's quite engaging for the kids, even for the parents. The way you were just talking in the session, I'm very sure each parent, whoever is watching or will watch later, are going to connect with you, going to ping you for lot many reasons about parenting, because that's the one thing they look forward. So you are a special guest, and when we announced that this is the topic we're going to discuss, trust me, the moms are very happy, and they are going to watch it later as well, because there are few who are in the office. So really appreciate you coming here at Mommy's World and giving us, this parenting tips, your ideas, your experiences, everything you shared. This is really for us to hear out, because what you said is really, really interesting. We are yet to come in that range. So you are preparing us for that.
Yeah. So I know it's at every point it's like I said, how do we um, build that warm and trusting relationship with your child, right? So I think that becomes a fundamental key for any for your child to cooperate, like Dr. Laura Markham says, right? Connect before you correct. And so that forms the basis for what we're doing. So as part of, the other initiative that we're doing also is the to make sure that parents also, disengage from gadgets. So how often you're playing with your child, suddenly the phone rings. What do? You just ignore your child and you're busy talking to your friend, and your child comes and, no, let's finish this, mama. I said, no, wait. You just push, give that a last priority, and you continue with your phone. But half an hour, 15 minutes, 20 minutes with your child, and say, okay, I'm going to switch off all my gadgets and just focus on with my child this 15, 20 minutes. That gives so much more confidence to your child. Just that 15 minutes, how it helps boost your child's brain development, emotional development, social connection, so much, right? So keeping this in mind, on November 20th, we're also organizing the Gadget-Free Hour, where we are urging parents to switch off all gadgets for 1 hour between 7:30 to 8:30. November 20th is World Children's Day, and on that day we are switching off, urging parents, for that 1 hour, switch off all your gadgets 7:30 to 8:30, and spend time with your child, with your children, right? Just playing, laughing, doing, just having fun together, and just experience the joy of connection. And hopefully, that will motivate you to make time every day to do that. So that's the campaign
I'll spread
we're
the
running.
word. I'll spread the word for this, definitely.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, Shal, if you have any specific questions that you or your members would like to ask.
Nalina ji, everybody so engrossed today. They gave us such a question. All are thanking you so much. And you have come and shared so many good tips. And I'll just comment you can let us book every month. I will wrap up the session and I'll go ahead and send it to you so that you can have
So one more thing I wanted to add, is like we think that we constantly need to engage our children, right? If we can't allow them to sit there doing nothing. If we are busy, at least let's give them the gadget to keep our screens or mobiles to keep them engaged, right? Or we have to structure and plan. Okay, this is the time for reading. This is when you sit and draw, right? So we're always planning things for our children. But research shows that equally important is giving the child the opportunity to be bored, to giving them time to play by themselves, to do things by themselves, right? So, for example, have you watched your, little one? You just give them, they'll be pretending, imagining, and playing, right? You give them a little tea with a tea set, or with dinosaurs. You just give them a bunch of toys, and you just leave them, and you'll be amazed at the conversations they're having with their toys, or just and telling them this is what you need to do at this particular time. They don't have time for that dream play, that imaginative play, that free play, right? So, I mean, it just as much as we encourage, just as much as you used to give some time for your child to just be. And if they tell you they're bored, that's okay, because that's time when they begin to figure out what to do by themselves. That's teaching them independence, it's teaching them so many skills, right? What you could do to encourage that is set up a safe space whether it be wherever you work most, right? Whether you're in the kitchen, during household chores, or you work from home, wherever you're working, near there, set up a safe space with their favorite toys, their favorite books, or whatever else, and let them explore what they want to do at that point. It shouldn't be driven by you, it should be driven by the child that time. They may just decide to just lie down and dream, and that's okay too for a while, right? So I think it's important for us to also understand that boredom helps them to calm their mind, and to give some rest to their brain, and helps them actually become think better after that, right? So I think balancing that as well as structured play, as well as learning, all that becomes important. And if you notice, I didn't bring up screen time much. Why? Because at this age, at that young age, it's about exploring with all your senses, right? It's about using your eyes, your hands, your body movements, your taste, your smell, right? All the multisensorial things that you need to use to explore something that improves your learning so much, right? Instead of on a sheet of paper.
On that note, when we're talking about the gadgets and everything is in place, now this got this one problem for every mother. Every child has
Yeah.
got this screen time extra than their limit. How do you think
What? Pardon?
every child?
I didn't get that.
I'm sorry. There is some again voice. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
The
can hear you. Yeah.
okay, the screen time has been increased too much that
Yes.
nowadays every child just want if somebody is at home, a guest is at home, mom, dad are busy, they want mobile. Mom is cooking, they want mobile, or any gadget for that matter. Check the TV. The screen time has increased that they don't listen to the other activities what we are discussing now, or even if they start doing it, they just pick up in just 5 or 7 or 10 minutes. What do you suggest for that? I know the bonding, what you just spoke about, but then what are the other ways? Because I see this problem quite often in my group that moms keep on talking about screen time has been increased a lot.
Yeah, see, I think, one thing to look back in our childhood when there was no screen,
Hmm.
how did we engage ourselves as little kids, right? And how did our parents manage us, right? When there was no screen time,
And now the
there was no.
parents actually, sorry to interrupt you. That time we used to listen to our parents, now we listen to our kids because our kids are not listening to us. That is one problem.
So we talk a lot about, setting limits, right? So it's always where you draw boundaries. You say, okay, more and more, if you see research saying that it's not necessarily that you avoid all gadgets with your kids, because that's not practical.
Yeah.
The future is about technology. What it is important is for us to help the child, or even you as a parent, balance the need for technology, balance the use of technology with other things that you do.
Hmm.
So if your child is getting enough sleep, is playing physically, is interacting with people, doing a lot of things, and occasional, being on the screen occasionally for a little bit a day, little bit of time a day is okay. It's when they are just constantly on the screen, addicted to that, and they're not exploring other things around them, right? They're not playing with people or exploring with their senses, other senses, that then it becomes a deterrent. It doesn't allow for optimal brain growth in your child, right? So it's again striking that balance. So if one thing that's clear out of research is if you don't use a particular sense at that age under 5, you lose the that a sensation. For example, there's research that shows that when a child is born with a deficit in hearing, if there's no early intervention to take care of that, right, and allow the child to hear, the part of the brain that's allocated for speech, right? Um, if there's early intervention, that the brain is perfect, is no, it grows back. That part of the brain is taken over by other senses of sight and touch. So later, too, at 21, say you try to bring back the hearing, the speech never comes back to its best of its ability, right? The full capacity. So it's important to stimulate all the senses in your child, hearing, smelling, sight, feel, movement, right? You don't want you want every part of your child's brain to develop optimally, right? To its best capacity.
Yeah.
So that's why it's about balance. And the other mistake we parents do is when we tell your child only half an hour of TV or screen time a day, at our convenience, right? If the child cries, right? Say, so say today half an hour is done, but suddenly you have this important phone call or you have somebody visiting and you don't want your child to bother you. You say, here, watch the screen, right? Here, watch the TV now. Don't bother me, right? So when that happens, what does your child? What message are you sending to your child? At my convenience, you can watch. At my, so tomorrow when you say half an hour, does your child really understand that half an hour? I know if I bug my mother when she's busy, she's going to give me that extra half an hour, correct? That I want. So it's about we as parents itself, we need to examine how we handle screens and how when we set limits, do we stick to those limits, or are we breaking them according to our convenience, right? So what messages that's sending to the child? So again, it's about uh, balancing what you do with your child. It's not avoiding something, but learning to balance what's happening. And especially under 5, you need to make sure that they, does every age group, but even more so at that age, let them explore with all their senses, because you don't want things to be abstract and virtual for them, right? They're very concrete thinkers where they want to feel things and see things, and we need to allow for that. In a digital world, yes, they have these beautiful things, images running around and fruits and things that you can count, but are they really feeling it? It's so virtual for them, it's so abstract for them, right? So that's what you need to think about and balance when we talk about screens and non-screen usage. I hope that answered your
Yes, yes, this
query
answers most
on
of the
screen.
mom's query. Thanks
Hello?
a lot. Yeah, this answers most of the mom's query. I guess this was the one query for most of the moms.
Okay. Oh, the screen time. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Great. So I guess we do not have any questions, but everybody is thinking, is hearing you out and saying thank you. They're checking your thoughts. They're commenting and really appreciate what Parent Circle has come with. The magazine, they recommend these guys. They are going to check it out and buy and suggest to their friends and relatives. Thanks a lot for coming for this Facebook Live, Nalina ji. Really appreciate. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Shalu. And I encourage everybody to please do go check out, the Little Learners at Home program at Parent Circle. The books, it's a book series of books. And also encourage you all to participate in Gadget Free Hour and experience the joy of connection with your child. And like I said in the beginning, take uh, relish the little moments you have with your child right now. Before you know it, they're all grown up, and you look back and you miss this time, right? So enjoy your children at this time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Thanks a lot. You take care. Thank
Okay.
you. Thanks for coming. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. This was an insightful session and very informative. I, as a mother, when I connect with you on so many topics and discuss a lot many versions what we see throughout the day, the experts keeps coming and sharing their insight. And at the end of it, we always talk that what we learned, the takeaway. So today, I'm really happy that I really I had no reason to disturb her in between when she was giving her, you know, the ideas, the implementation, what she has done, the way of parenting, and the way she looks, at the little learners things, what this magazine says. And I really had a glimpse of this magazine while I was talking to the parent circle team and appreciate the fact that they have kept 3 to 5 years age in this and they are sending a very good message through this book and they are giving an idea to engage your kid away from a screen and making our child more stable and happy inside the house. That's what matters. So I'll be sharing the link from where you can check out the book and their website. All the details you can find there. Do check it out. Go for it. Suggest to your relatives and friends. And let's do this for our kids because Diwali is coming and your kids are going to break your head when they do not get anything new. So this is the right time. So Parent Circle has got this magazine where your kids will be engaged for whatever the days they have holidays, 10-15 days. तब तक के लिए हम फ्राइडे इंस्टाग्राम लाइव सीरीज का वेट करेंगे और आज हम यहाँ पे रैप अप करेंगे for today's session. I'll be sharing the direct link with you, the website video once the session is ended. And a copy of this video, you will get it on our YouTube channel. Will be shared on our the WhatsApp group. Till then, take care. Happy parenting. Love you all. Bye bye.